Don't talk football in here now.
All right, if everybody's ready, we'll have a short opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah, for very productive fall as far as seeing the development of some of our older kids, and then at the same time learning a lot about our new recruits as far as where they're at, and I think that there's a lot of the young kids that will definitely help us this year, maybe more than in the past. When you start on the mound, there's 4 or 5 freshmen right now that we can definitely recruit around. We think they're going to be very good pitchers for the Razorbacks, and their roles will be different. Maybe this year's freshmen than they will be down the road. Example, a lot of these kids, they may have to be relievers and middle relievers, but we do see them being starters and hopefully conference starters in the future. It's nice knowing that those young guys they have the stuff. Now they just need to gain some experience to help out with our older guys. We feel good about our pitching staff. And then, offensively, there's 2 or 3 young hitters that are definitely going to push this year to play. One in particular, Heston Kerstad, had a tremendous fall for us as a true freshman, and earned the respect of his teammates and coaching staff. And, as far as the older kids, I'll just take questions on those. They all seem to be a little bit bigger and better, and hopefully stay healthy.
Any of the injuries that you had, Shaddy, Bonfield, Murphy, Turney, or Eric Cole, do you expect any of those to linger into the season?
See if I can go through those. Shaddy has had a problem with his right wrist. It was bothering him a little bit. Then he kind of tweaked it in the weight room, but that wasn't what caused it. I think that just maybe irritated it, and it's been looked at through MRI and different procedures, and the doctors feel like it's just some tendonitis. So we're not letting him use that wrist in anything for about 4 weeks, evaluate it, and go from there. I think he should be fine. Bonfield just pulled his hamstring, running the bases. And, Bonnie's had some issues with his legs over the years, and I just think that'll be something that he'll have to battle, and that's his own personal battle. He's going to have to really stretch and take care of himself there. He's getting bigger and stronger. He was really hitting the ball well when that happened, because he got off to a really slow start, and it didn't look real good, to be honest with you. Then for 2 weeks he was maybe our top hitter, and then he hurt the hammy. But I think he'll be all right. We're keeping an eye on that. And then Murphy just had a little back issue. He's coming out of it. I think he's fine. It's not, it's just a little injury that just needs to heal up, and he had a good fall. He picked up right where he left off last year for us. And who else are we talking about? Yeah, there's actually 2 Coles. Eric Cole had some back issues in play all fall, and now he was released. He hurt that in the summer. He's released, and he's full go with us right now. He was disappointed that he didn't get to play and prove himself this fall, and I think it compounded a little bit when he saw the talent we have in the outfield, and he wants to make sure he's in it. And but he's looked extremely well the last week and a half since he's been cleared, so that's good. And then Cole Turney is a true freshman outfielder, one of the highest rated kids that we got in here. Obviously didn't sign a professional contract. Didn't have a great senior year. Had an incredible freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Might have been their number 1 ranked hitter coming out of Texas by a couple of services, and felt fortunate to get him committed and sign him. But honestly, 2 years back, I didn't think we'd get him. And then, like I said, he didn't throw real good his senior year. His arm was bothering him, shoulders bothering him. Well, come to find out, he had a couple of tears in there. And he had surgery in August. Dr. Andrews did it down in Florida, and he should be ready to go as far as swinging the bat in about a month, where he can start working some drills, and then should be ready to go full go as far as offensively when the season starts. As far as throwing, I think that's still a big question mark, but there's no reason for us to redshirt him in our mind, because when he's draft eligible again, if he's doing what he did, I don't think it's going to matter. So maybe that big power left-handed bat will come into play sometime during the year for us. So we do see him helping us in the 18 season.
The schedule you got here, does it look like a good confluence of you thinking we're going to have a good team and, hey, let's schedule this way? How does that work?
Yeah, I would say, this schedule, and this is really the first time I've looked at it in this format, it's probably the toughest schedule on paper that we've had since I've been here. You just look at some of the teams that are on there, and some big name schools, non-conference teams that are going to be projected to be in regionals. We're in regionals last year. When you look at Texas and Texas Tech, and going on the road to Charlotte on the way to play Florida on the road, and the Tony Gwynn Classic in San Diego, we're going to go out 2 days early and play Arizona at a neutral site. And then play. I know that they don't have the teams listed on there, but we will play San Diego, I think Friday at San Diego's Park. Then the next day on Saturday evening we'll play San Diego State at their park. So those are two true road games, and I'm not sure who we're going to play on that Sunday. And then just the fact that we play Missouri State, which is always a tough game, and the road games we have, we've got, conference games. You got Florida on the road, Georgia on the road, and they could really hit. They were good last year. I just think that they're a scary team. And then obviously LSU on the road, Ole Miss on the road, Mississippi State on the road are in conference. So, it's great. It's a great schedule for our team challenge-wise. It's going to challenge us just about every game. You can't really just look on there and say, they're going to get that one. There might be a couple of those, but other than that, we're going to have to earn them all, which I think is going to keep our players on their toes. It's going to keep these young players pushing, and then when they do get to play, if it's not early and on the weekend, they're going to get to see some good competition midweek to earn some time on the weekend. So we're excited about the schedule. But I guess to answer your question, the schedule evolves over years. I'm already working on 2021 schedule. So you don't know where you're going to be at in 21. You just kind of hope that you're going to be at a certain place as far as recruits getting here. We were fortunate to keep some guys this year, and it was definitely needed after the way the schedule turned out.
Dave, I see there in March you got 9 straight road games. Maybe that's happened before, but that seems kind of odd for you guys, How'd that fall, and how tough a stretch is that to begin?
Well, it's just kind of the way it played. You're talking about, going to Charlotte after playing a lot of home games. It's kind of the way it works a little bit. And, that's our spring break. We're heading to Florida anyway, which that just kind of worked out. We don't get our schedule early enough a lot of times to see where we're going to be. So you can kind of schedule around it. So we're going to go to Charlotte. We're out of school, just continue on to Florida. Come back, obviously head to Memphis on the way to play Ole Miss, and I kind of knew that was going to be the schedule there. And we owed Memphis a game, and it worked out. We always try to play that game on the way to Ole Miss, and it worked out this year. So I think it'll be good for the team. After playing the schedule we play early, a lot of those games at home, Southern Cal, didn't even mention them. And then going on the road, I think you get better when you play on the road. If you can win on the road, it's great for your RPI. So a couple of those are games that are scheduled 6 in a row on the road in conference. And that's just the way it is.
A lot's been said about your depth, but I wonder if you can touch on the situational. It seems like if you need a left-handed hitter, you've got that, or if you need to bring somebody in with their glove or a runner, just if you could touch on that.
Yeah, we have offensively, we could run 7 or 8 left-handed hitters out in one lineup and still have a good defense. It might not be the best defense, but it would be still very solid. We've actually got more left-handed hitters than we do right-handed hitters, and that's kind of rare. But the right-handed hitters that we have are good, and that's a good thing. You're talking about Grant Cook and Shaddy and Bonfield and those type of guys. A couple of new guys coming along, and we're hoping that Jordan McFarland will pick it up this year. Had some really good days this past fall. So we do have some options. Am I planning on platooning? Maybe one or two guys here or there, but I feel like most of our left-handed hitters can hit the lefties. Example, Fletcher and Biggers, they were ranked our number 1 and 2 hitters by the team at the end of fall. So they're staying in the lineup all the time. Then you have Jared Gates, who should stay in the lineup most of the time, but if I want to put McFarland at first or someone else, it's not going to be an issue. Evan Lee's a left-handed hitter that he can hit lefties. He can also pitch. So, we should be able to mix and match, and if somebody's banged up or struggling, we can get them out of the lineup and not really have to explain ourselves too much. Just go with it.
Third base, who's your leading
Yeah,
candidate?
the best defender is Kinley by far. I mean, Kinley, I only played Kinley at third, maybe 1 scrimmage, 2 scrimmages all fall, and we went 2 weeks straight with him at short. So I'd have Jax on one team and Kinley on the other, and Kinley never said a word to me. And one day I got him around the cage. I said, "When are you going to ask me the big question?" And he kind of looked at me funny. He goes, "What, about playing short all the time?" I said, "Yeah, when are you going to ask me why am I never playing third?" And my comment was, "I already know you can play third." And he's a really good third baseman, and he proved he's a really good shortstop. I mean, he played with Biggers all fall. I mean, he made some tremendous plays. He has a great arm. Obviously, the concern there is the bat. If he hits, it's pretty easy. He may be a guy we platoon a little bit. He hits righties better than left. He got a tremendous eye at the plate. He had a hit for the cycle in one of the games, and then after that he didn't get another hit for 2 games. So he's a little bit of a roller coaster, but we've got Easton Morrell, a true freshman switch hitter, had a good fall. He can play third. Casey Martin's a true freshman. He can play third. He can play second. A lot of tools there. Just has to make a little better contact. But he's an electric base runner. He's got power. Could put Gates over there if I wanted to. He played well there at the end of the year. Didn't play much there this fall. But so I guess to answer your question, that's probably the position again that there are options. But I couldn't tell you, right now who our starter's going to be.
I think it was probably the same thing. Knight and Campbell will factor into your weekend rotation. Who are some of the others that?
Well,
is it Murphy?
Oh yeah, Murphy and Lee. Those two jump out at me. There's Bolden, a true freshman out of Texarkana. He's a decent draft last year. I think maybe 16th, 17th round, and I think he's got starter stuff. I think Jackson Rutledge, right-handed Jackson Rutledge. He's got starter stuff. It maybe as a true freshman might come out of the pen a little bit, but he's awfully good. So we do have options.
You have fun going to the World Series.
Yeah, that was an amazing game. That Game 5. If you like offense, you love that game. Just 2 really good teams. I mean, you hated to see them. One of the teams lose, and me as a former coach of 2 kids that play on separate teams. I knew we were going to have one guy's going to be really happy and one's going to be awfully disappointed. But Logan Forsythe played really good defense. He made some plays in that series, especially when they'd move him around. He played, I think, 3 different positions, including first base for an inning or 2, and got a lot of hits and big hits. And Dallas didn't pitch as well as he had been. The game I was at, he didn't miss one time up. It was all low, and he was just trying to keep it away from their bats, and just didn't have it. But his team picked him up. But it was a great experience. The crowd was incredible. It was awfully loud, and I didn't cheer for anybody. I just stood there. When the Astros hit a home run, I got a lady in front of me, kept turning around, wanted to high five me, and I kind of felt guilty doing it. But I don't want to leave her hanging, I guess. I mean, their crowd's going wild. I got LA fans right next to me over here, and they're going nuts, and I'm just watching. And but it was pretty neat.
So you high-five the lady just out of
I had
courtesy.
to. I didn't want to disrespect her.
What's that experience like? We talk all the time about the guys in the league, but what's that experience like to see guys at that highest stage that you've coached?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I've said it many times. You're just proud of them. You're just, because it's hard to get there. The big leagues. That's such a big step above the minor leagues. And we're in a really good place right now with our former players. I mean, I think we had up to maybe 10 or 11 of our guys played in the big leagues a little bit this past season, But if you go down to double and triple A, I mean, we got another 9 or 10 guys right there, and some young guys in A-ball. It just says a lot about our players and how they, have developed, here and then in pro ball, and they fight their way through it. Even the guys that won't make it, just to get to double and triple A, because I never made it there, and I know firsthand how hard it is. Getting out of A-ball is tough. You get to double A, you got a shot, and just proud of those guys. And it's nice to be able to talk to the kids that we're recruiting about the players, that have been through our program and where they're at now. And if you come in here, you're going to get better. And I don't know. That's kind of how I feel.
Has anyone who went through the fall practices informed you that they're going to transfer at semester?
We've got 2 or 3 kids that are going to go to junior college. Left-handed Rutledge is going to go to JUCO. He's been here a year and a half. There's a couple, 3 guys that were in our program that have either been injured or they just can't get over an injury, or they just can't get it done, that I think are just going to stay and go to school. Like Anthony Dahl, been in and out, had some arm problems, just can't quite get it right. He's getting along pretty good in his degree and not pitching well. Velocity's really gone backwards due to an injury. I think he's just going to go to school. I think Thompson's the same way, just going to go to school, left-handed Thompson. And, I think that's about it.
How much did Scott Heather, being the coach there, play into getting that schedule?
Yeah, we've talked a little bit a few years back, and, the years go by. It's hard to remember how it all went down with the scheduling, because I'm involved in it pretty heavily, but we did talk a lot, and he's done a great job there. I think saw him in a regional or talked to him here and there, and he said I'd like to come back. And I don't remember how that all started out, if I called him or if he emailed me or whatever the case may be. But he's got some ties here, so I think he wants to get back to the area and bring his team and obviously play the Razorbacks.
How do you feel about the depth at catcher now, to where maybe Grant doesn't have to catch as many innings?
Yeah, we have a freshman, Casey Opitz. I think he was a 27th round pick, and he's a backup. And then Plunkett's available again this year, and he's probably got the best arm in the country. Plunkett does. Got a ways to go with the bat, and so does Casey at this level. Casey's just got to get bigger and stronger. He played all summer with the Midland Redskins. They won the Connie Mack World Series. They didn't get done playing until like August 10th. So he was a little tired when he got here, but he really showed some defensive skills, advanced receiving, making pitches look better than they are, blocking skills, threw out a lot of runners, very accurate arm, not what you would call just a rocket type arm, but just very accurate and quick, and threw just about everybody out that the pitchers gave him a chance. And, so there's really kind of a battle for the backup. Grant's our guy, obviously. I didn't catch Grant the last two and a half weeks of fall. And, he's always, I want to catch, you're not catching. You just go play right field, DH, and that's what he did. He did it in our little series, and but when he did catch, he threw him out, and he had a good fall offensively. So it's nice having some depth there, and we'll see how that turns out.
In the past, you said the Tony Gwynn Classic, there was a chance that the final might get played at Petco Park. Do you know if that's still a possibility?
It's actually all changed over the last couple of years. It's actually changed who's running it, as we're finding out a little more now as we're getting closer, where whoever was – the individual that called me and got it set up is not involved in it anymore. San Diego and San Diego State have kind of taken over the tournament. They may even change the exact name of it. We've been kind of told that lately. But I guess to answer your question, I'm going to say no. You
do have 3 games at minor league ballparks, Charlotte, North Little Rock, and Memphis. So you sense your players get up for those games a little more?
I think they like that a lot. The Little Rock game is all about the fans, really. Giving the fans in the southern part of the state a little easier access to see the Razorbacks play. You know, and the ballpark is, we try to play a little bit later now, so the grass is green and you can see the ball. I mean, because we've been out there early, you know, they don't really overseed too much down there because they don't have to. When their season starts, you know, the Bermuda starts to green up pretty good. And playing in Charlotte, I had the opportunity well, we worked out. When I was coaching Team USA, we worked out. We were supposed to play Korea there, and about the time the game was going to start, just a monsoon flood came in there. But what a beautiful ballpark! I mean, it's probably one of the prettiest ballparks that I've been in. That's not a big league field. Just the background with the city of Charlotte back there, and really a nice hitters park, to be honest with you, especially left-handed hitters. I know Andy Wilkins. He played there with the White Sox AAA one summer and hit 33 home runs. I don't know how many he hit there, but the ball jumps pretty good in most cases. And then I think we're going to play them the next day over at their ballpark, which is fine. And then obviously Memphis is, you know, it's one of the top ballparks. It's right there with Charlotte's ballpark. So I think the players will really enjoy that. It should be a good experience.
I think Logan had at least one hit off Dallas, maybe two. I mean, what's that like watching two guys you coached? I mean, you know, they're not just playing for each team; they're going at it, you know, batter to pitch.
Yeah, that was especially the game I was at in person. You know, Dodgers had a little rally going, and Dallas almost got out of it. And Logan with 2 outs and a couple of strikes, 1 strike on him, got a base hit to the left that drove in the first 2 runs of the game, and that stadium went silent. And I just stood and watched. I mean, couldn't really show too much emotion. It was, you know, I mean, I just see the frustration in Dallas's face, and Logan's just stoic. You know, he doesn't show much emotion. He's such a throwback. He doesn't celebrate and try to embarrass or show up anybody. You know, he got his hit, and they threw the plate. I think he ended up going to second on a semi-delay steal, whatever you want to call it. Another run scored. Yeah, I mean, it's they faced each other a few times, and Logan did pretty well. He's done pretty well against Dallas, if you break it down a little bit.
Did you get to talk to either of those guys?
Through texting. Dallas, the day before, I sent him a text saying I would be there. Didn't ask him for anything, and you know, like tickets, because I'm sure those guys' phones are blown up, and they have 500 texts, and I'm being serious, 500 that they haven't returned. I didn't talk with him, and I didn't try to contact. He's getting ready for the game, and then. You know, Logan and I text back and forth, and I just said, I'll be at the game. He said, hey, try to get down to see me. Had some issues getting in, but that's a long story. And by the time I got in there, his group had just hit, and he was hitting in the tunnel. Did get to watch BP, but he'd already hit. So I did not talk to him. I was probably from here to that wall away from him when he was on the on-deck circle, and I didn't try to bother him.
Do you have any plans in the future to bring either Logan or Dallas to come and talk to your players?
You know, both of them live far away now. As a matter of fact, right before Logan was traded, they had just finished building a house in Florida. And I actually called him, sent him a text, and he texted me back, and I ended up calling him. And he was excited about going to L.A., but he was not real happy about moving. And my comment to him was, hey, man, you got a chance to win a World Series on that team. And he said, yeah, that's what I like. And that was a year ago or around Christmas or whenever that was. And, you know, so he doesn't work out here like a lot of the guys do. And Dallas works out, I think, more in the Dallas area. And, you know, if those guys are in town, I will ask them to say hey to the team if we're in town, yeah.
Is it hard to get a team like USC to come all the way out here? How does that work?
Well, no, I mean, it's not. Just as long as we'll return a trip or they'll return a trip. There's a few schools that I get in contact with every now and then that are really warm weather schools that they'll say, you know, we'll pay for your whole trip to come out, but we don't want to come back. And I always say, we don't need your money. We need you to come play here. And then we don't play. So USC, they were looking for games. We were looking for games. You know, we have California kids who are recruiting. Like we have a lefty that we're going to sign next week or this week out of Southern California, and obviously we have Fletcher here, and we want to recruit that area. It's nice to play out there every now and then for those kids and their families.
So you're playing out there next season?
We're going back to USC next. Or no, they're coming. Let me see. They're coming here this year. We're going there next year. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You can't can't talk about the players yet that you're going to sign this
No.
week, but I wonder, what were you looking for in the signing class? Anything more than another?
Yeah, this I wouldn't say anything really, more than one thing. I mean, you always got to get a couple, 3 pitchers that can come in and help you as young pitchers, and that you're hoping this summer are going to be SEC starters. It's so hard to get a JC guy to come in and do what happened for us last year. Would come in and take that 3rd spot. But it's we lost some guys this year. The 18 class that we're getting ready to sign, we'll lose a few of those guys because there's a couple of high-end pitchers in there. But we just got a little bit of everything. We feel like we've got 2 or 3 infielders that are going to help us in the future. So we only really went out and got a couple outfielders, mostly pitching, and 1 catcher. And there's a chance that he may sign. And so if you look on down the road to the 19 class, I mean, it's really heavy in pitching, and a couple of catchers in that class. So you don't want to stockpile, obviously, too much. It doesn't really work out. You will oversign a little bit if you're recruiting kids that are projected to be pretty good drafts, and then you just have to communicate with them. But I don't think really it's not like we said, hey, we've got to have this or that. We know we're going to lose a couple outfielders off this team, but we're going to have Fletcher back. Kerstad will be a sophomore. We got a couple other guys in there. Hopefully, Turney's healthy. I mean, we should be in good shape. So we really only have 2 kids that are outfielders. One's really straight-up outfielder. Another one plays infield and outfielder coming in. So those are the things you look at. You just try not to stockpile in certain areas.
All good? Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Y'all got to win in Houston.